Hey guys, it's Michaela with D&D Beef. Today, let's talk roasts. Now, before you sign off and you're like, I don't care about roasts, I just throw them in the crock pot with some potatoes and carrots, let me maybe change your mind. So there's 4 basic types of roast. You have your chuck, arm, sirloin, and rump roast. And let me show you each of these roasts. So you have your standard arm roast that comes with the bone in the middle, usually. This is a great roast for a crock pot type recipe, as well as everybody's favorite chuck roast. Chuck roast is like the ribeye of roast. It's reliable, dependable, and it's always good. All of these are always good, but you can't mess up a chuck roast. Then the next roast we have is a rump roast. These roasts have longer muscle fibers, are thicker. It's more of a round piece of roast and take a little more finesse when cooking. It's not just a throw in the crock pot and leave type of roast, as well as a sirloin tip roast. Same principle. Now I'm also going to, though, you have your beef, shank, your crosscut, ossobuco. It's not a roast, but it deserves a head nod. And if you guys haven't tried this yet, I highly suggest it. So let's talk about your chucks and your arm roasts. These roasts are so good in the crock pot. They're the roasts that you think of when you do potato and carrots and some root vegetables in a crock pot. Phenomenal. The thing with your chuck roast and your arm roast is they are cut this way. See how it's only like a couple inches thick? They're the ones that you can shred, barbecue beef sandwiches, those type of things, because the muscle fibers are thinner. They also have more marbling. Now, fat equals flavor, and our beef is extremely flavorful, so I am talking about cooking our roasts. I know how our beef cattle are raised. I know how they're fed. I know the genetics. They're going to be good, but when it comes to our roasts, I actually don't dump salsas or a lot of flavor on them when I'm cooking them the first time because they don't need it. Salt and pepper, maybe some garlic and onion, some aromatics that are just going to enhance the flavor, and just enjoy them plain the first time. 99.9% of the time, that's how I cook a roast. So your chuck and your arm, I always will cook them in a crock pot. I like to do 8 hours on low. I do, if I'll throw them in frozen, you don't have to thaw them if you're cooking them in a crock pot. Pressure cooker, same principle. I'm not as familiar with that. So I'm just going to use a crock pot as an example, and just low and slow all day. Now, when you're done cooking a chuck or an arm roast, it'll fall apart. It's the shred type of roast. We enjoy it plain the first time. Then these roasts are so versatile down the road. So the next day I will do like a beef and noodles, like a stroganoff type of thing. This is when then maybe I'll do burritos or tacos, like shred it and then add in flavors, because I have that base flavor of the onions, garlic, salt, and pepper. You can do anything with it. Barbecue it. Some people will do like a soup with it. Now it does fall apart so well, it's not going to keep its shape, but you could do like a beef barley soup. You can almost even do like a ragu with it if you want to make something a little more meaty, because it's so good. It shreds. It kind of melts in your mouth. It's not big chunks of meat. You can really do so much with these roasts the next couple days. So I always cook them basic first, and then literally any sort of recipe that requires beef, you could do with a chuck and an arm roast. So those are your tried and true. So good, so flavorful. But I feel like these next 2 roasts don't get the love that they deserve as much. So this is like your sirloin tip roast and your arm roast. They kind of look the same, rump roast. Your rump roast is bigger than your sirloin tip roast on average. And you can see they're thick. So these are the types of roasts that you cook and you watch them, as in like put them in an oven, you have them thawed, you can brown them on all sides, and then you cook them until they're pink in the middle. You know, I don't, depending on your preference, like a medium rare. And these are the ones you slice thin and then lay on your plate and eat. Not as versatile, but they still are so, so good that they deserve some love is what I'm trying to say. There are a lot of recipes with a sirloin tip roast and your rump roast where what you can do is people will put like garlic and herbs on top, and they'll kind of like make a I don't want to say like a crust, but do it in like a shallow roasting pan with some veggies and enjoy. Now, same principle with these two roasts from after you cook them, what are you going to do with them the next day? If you do the parsley garlic kind of recipes with them, the next day you could make some roast beef sandwiches like that you dip in the au jus, which are phenomenal. You could also make like a Philly cheesesteak type of sandwich if you cut it really thin and add some peppers and onions and stuff. But just remember, these have to be cut thin to enjoy. Still really good. They're just not as easy in the fact that it's not a slow cooker and come home and supper's done, but they're still worth the time and the effort because you're going to be able to eat them the following days, and so many great recipes as well. So those two, still phenomenal, flavorful, and they're actually a little leaner than your chuck in your arm. There is marbling in them, but they don't have the marbling that like your chuck roasts do. I would compare like a chuck roast, like your brisket, in marbling. The flavor's still there, but it's not as fatty when you cook it from like a pan dripping standpoint. Now, your osso buco crosscut beef shank, whatever word you'd like to use. Is it a roast? No, but these are still phenomenal. You can brown these, cook them on low and slow. A lot of people will like enjoy a shank themselves, serve it with like mashed potatoes or polenta, something delicious. It's like a mini roast with that marrow. My mouth's watering. All of these are so savory, so good and hearty. And also a great way to stretch your meals, stretch a buck, because they're such a great way to enjoy once and then keep using for a couple days. All of these as well, you know, you could cook it and shred it and freeze it. It's a great like a meal prep type of thing too. If you get a big roast from us, like a 4-pound roast, you could cook it, enjoy it, shred it, and then when you want to do a taco night or barbecued beef, you have roast ready in your freezer. Warm it up and then add whatever toppings to it because you had cooked it plain like I do with the onions and the garlic and just your basic aromatics. So I hope that helps. I know I talked kind of fast, but roasts are great. If you have any questions about cooking, you can always message me. I do talk a little bit about some recipes on our website. One of my favorites, and everybody loves it so much, is I have a garlic roast recipe. Mouth's watering again. Phenomenal. But also check out beefitswhatsfordinner.com. They have a website where you can go search the cut. So if you're like, I want to cook the sirloin tip roast, they have awesome recipes of what to do, how to do, how long it's going to take, what to, meal prep for and get your ingredients for, and also show you like the different types of methods for cooking too. Which is a heads up as well with your chuck and your arm. You guys smoke your roast. Life-changing. We smoke our roast for a little bit. We're not real smokers. We have a pellet smoker. We'll smoke them for a couple hours, and then I bring them in and finish them either in the crock pot or the oven just to cook them low and slow after they got that smoke on them. Such a great meal. My mouth's watering again. I must be hungry. And a different way to cook a roast. But Beef It's What's for Dinner also talks about which roast can be cooked which way, and will help you as well. So let me know what you guys want to talk about next. Thank you so much for this suggestion. I hope it helps, and I hope you guys have a great day.